I bought the world's smallest Xbox console for almost $600, which, by the way, is made of wood. And in this video, we're going to open it up, test it out, and see how it works. Before I open this box up, I have two main concerns right off the bat. First of all, this console is there's something inside of it rattling around pretty loudly, which is not a great sign. And second of all, this box is tiny. Like, there's supposed to be an OG Xbox in here, and just look at the size of an OG Xbox compared to this box. So either the seller sent the wrong thing, or they just really reduced the size of this thing when they made it out of wood. But let's find out. And man, I'm excited for this thing. I love seeing custom consoles that people build. Let's go ahead and see what's inside of here. So we have an AV cable, a power cable. So maybe one of those or what was rattling around inside of there. And this right here must be the console. And man, it is tiny. But let's go ahead and take it out, see what it looks like. And that rattling noise I mentioned earlier is definitely coming from inside of the console. So hopefully it's all secure in there. But let's find out. Oh man, it sure is made of wood. What on earth, man? That is crazy. Okay, so here it is. Apparently I have it upside down. It sure is an Xbox made of wood. That's just like a little tiny wood box. And we got this little cover on top. We'll go on the inside in a second. But let's take a look at the outside of this thing. This is an interesting creation. I love seeing stuff like this that people make. Now, I would assume this is probably a fire hazard. Hopefully it doesn't catch on fire when I use it. But let's go ahead and just take a look at how what this console looks like on the outside. So first of all, here on the front, we've got a eject button, which I believe doubles as a power button now. There's actually not a disk drive in there, which we'll talk about later. We got two controller ports here, so not all four like it usually does. Oh, and then we have our ventilation here on the side, and that piece is just like a mesh piece that's kind of loose there. Okay, that's a little questionable. And flipping around here to the back, we've got our fan, loose as well. We've got our power port, Ethernet, AV cable out. And then, oh my gosh, something inside of there is just rattling around like crazy. And here's the other side. And looking at the bottom, it appears that we have some nails. Like, did he nail the board to the wood? Like, what is going on here? I also definitely see some wood glue around the outside here. So I guess that's how it's held together. But this part looks like it's separating a little bit. And of course, back here on the top, we've got our little cover that just kind of slides right off. This top cover is made of a piece of wood, and then the pieces around it, I think, are metal, but spray painted a wood color, I think. And then here on the inside, again, just lots of glue around the outside. You got front 3, 2, 1, 4. Interesting. And then here's the interesting. This is the really interesting part of it. So obviously, this is the power supply over here. We've got this random 3D printed part that's just laying in here. We got this piece right here. You've got our hard drive underneath. And oh yeah, let me just mention a few things that I read in the listing. So the listing was not super detailed, but there were a few things that were there that kind of gave me a hint of what's going on here. Now, first of all, made of wood. Second, it has a 2 terabyte hard drive. And then third, this console has no disk drive, which I guess is how they reduced the size down a bit. And then fourth, it has a custom dashboard called the XBMC for Gamers dashboard. So between all those facts, you definitely know this console has been modded. I'm not sure if it's a soft or hard mod, but we'll find out later when we do the teardown. Oh, ooh, nice. So I was just lifting this piece up and the hard drive just straight up fell. That's awesome. It should just go right back there. But man, this thing is super jank. Like, I knew it was gonna be jank, but this is like next level jank right here. And I also wanted to mention that as I just, move this console around, the mesh piece right here just falls out of place. Even this fan was like falling in and out of the console. Like the grill here is just, wow, it's just like completely dislodged. Okay, a couple more things before I turn it on. First of all, the seller gave me the wrong power cord, which is not a big deal. Like, I have plenty of extra power cords, but just something to note. But anyways, I wanted to show you the comparison here in terms of size. And this thing is like significantly smaller. Like, let's lift it up on top of the OG Xbox here. And like, it is a good, I don't know, 30%, 40% smaller. And it's about the same height here. But yeah, it's a tiny footprint. But anyways, we got our power cord plugged in here. Let's go ahead and turn it on and see if it works. I'm a little concerned here. I don't have much hope, but 3, 2, 1. Hey, it's turning on. And like I said, this eject button is now the power button. I don't know why, but I guess that works. And sure enough, it is booting up. There it is, XBMC for Gamers. Such a funny name, but there it is. Sure enough, it is loading up. I'm glad. Here it is. All right, manage profiles. Got DVD to Xbox. Last login 2017. No idea if that's accurate or not, but we'll load that up. And I got my nice little Halo Xbox, OG Xbox controller here. It did not come with a controller. By the way, I paid $500 for this, which at first glance, like, this thing is cool, but for $500, I think I would have expected it to be a little bit higher quality inside. And you can see here, it's scanning through all the media, and it looks like it's loading up a ton of games. I don't know, man, you must have every Xbox game on here. Yeah, a bunch of 007 games. I forgot how many 007 games there were for the, the Xbox and PS2. So I scrolled to the M's to see if they have every single version of Madden here. We got Madden 02, 03, 04, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm trying to figure out if they have every game on here. I feel like they do, except for the fact they only have one NCAA game. I don't know, this is kind of funny. You could obviously load up more games if you wanted to, but let's go ahead and just try to boot up one of these games and see if it works. All right, hold on a second, guys. I'm trying to see if there's any air coming out, and it sure is spinning, but I don't feel any air. Is the fan the wrong direction? I looked at the blades, and I can definitely feel some air blowing out, so it is blowing the right direction, but it's just like a very weak airflow. But anyways, let's come back here and play a game now. We can play one of these two games right here, or we can play, oh yeah, Bionicle, baby. Let's go. I'm playing some Bionicle. I don't know about you guys, but back in the PS2 and Xbox day, I was a huge Lego and Bionicle fan. I actually played this Bionicle game on the PS2, I think I had it. I might have had it on the Game Boy Advance. I can't remember, to be honest. Let's go ahead and boot it up and play. Oh man, this brings back some memories. To be honest, I don't remember anything about Bionicles. I liked Bionicles, but I didn't like follow the story or anything. I had some friends though that had like every single Bionicle possible, and like, you know, knew the story in and out. All right, well, that's enough of Bionicles. Let's go ahead and try out another game. Back to the main menu, there's a couple other things I've discovered here. First of all, I can press Y to do synopsis, and it'll give you a little summary of the game and like a review and stuff, which is pretty neat, honestly. If you don't know what the game is, you can just read it here and see some screenshots. Kind of cool. And then also, if you press the back button here, you can go to applications, emulators, games, homebrew. So let's try these out and just see if there's anything else loaded up on here. All right, we got Chimp Loader, NK Patcher Settings, Xbox Artwork Installer, and XB Partitioner 1.3. Honestly, I have no idea what any of these are. Like I said, I'm very noobish on the OG Xbox modding scene. But the next thing I want to do is go find the settings and see if I can figure out how to get the CPU and GPU temperature up here. Because I know you can on this dashboard, and it'd be very cool, obviously, to see our temps. So let's go ahead and see if we can figure out how to do that. Ooh, and while I was looking for the CPU temps, I figured out you can change your background. Go with this nice little peach color. There's so many options here. Oh, that one is cool. I like that one. You can see the front and back artwork at the same time. Oh, and I just figured out how to change my front LED here. Let me just show you a video as I scroll through. Leave as is. We got off, we got cycle, we got red, orange. Pretty cool. Let's go with red, because why not? Oh, fan speed overwrite. Oh, there we go. Kick it up to 100%. Oh yeah, there we go. Now I can feel the hot air coming out. Considering I can see that, there's gotta be the temperature setting somewhere around here. All right, man, I swear I went through every single setting I could find and found nothing about displaying the temperature. Maybe it's something I'm missing. Maybe there's additional mod I need to add. I don't know. Let me know down below if you're knowledgeable about that sort of thing. I just decided to take the top cover off just to check it out, and it's getting a little bit warm. And the thing that concerns me here the most is we got our power supply just exposed. Like, I do not want to touch that, but it's just in a dangerous spot. And like wood and hot Xbox, I don't think those go together. Like, this just screams fire hazard to me. Not quite as much as my cardboard Xbox, which I'll show you in a minute. But let's just go ahead and boot up one more game and see how it runs. Whoever came up with the concept of burnout is a genius. Like, there's the concept of crashing into cars. Like, it's something we all did back in the day. You guys remember playing NASCAR back in the day and driving backwards just to crash cars? I don't know why I didn't play Burnout more when I was a kid. Like, I would have loved this game. All right, guys, that's enough games. Let's go ahead and turn this console. Actually, you know what? Before we turn this console off, I want to do a little thermal camera test between this Xbox and a real OG Xbox. I say real as if this is not a real Xbox. The wooden Xbox and an OG Xbox side by side, and kind of just see what the heat signatures look like. Okay, so the thermal imaging here is pretty interesting. The wooden Xbox is clearly looking real hot, but the good thing is that the hottest part of the console is where the fan is blowing air out, and of course we can ramp this fan up to 100% manually for maximum heat dissipation if we want to. What I think is kind of, sketchy is how hot the power supply looks over here. Now, I'm not surprised, but power supplies can be a bit scary. Now, this other Xbox is a random one I have laying around and hasn't had thermal paste replaced, so it's really not dissipating much heat. But anyway, it's just interesting to see the differences here. Now for the fun part where we actually take this thing all the way apart and see what's going on here. And the first thing, which you can't really notice here, but the wood smells a bit because it's hot, like it's hot wood, just kind of how you would expect it. And you saw this earlier, but you can clearly see the outside was stained, which is, I guess, kind of nice. I don't know. This whole project is one of those things where it's like, it's cool to see, but at the same time, it's completely pointless. Like, why do you need a wooden Xbox? But anyways, I keep going back to this power supply. Like, this is a dangerous spot for a power supply, that close to the top, and it's like almost touching the wood. Now, if it touches the wood case, will it actually light it up? probably not. I mean, like, fire is hot, guys. Like, you gotta get really hot to ignite a fire, but it is still a bit sketchy. Now, let's see if we can somehow take this apart without destroying it. We got this board here, which connects to our hard drive, and this is gonna be the hard part, trying to just get all this out of here. And I don't know, but I find it kind of funny that the only thing stopping the hard drive from rattling against this 3D printed piece is this little tiny command strip just sitting there. I mean, it's kind of jankiness you would expect from something like this, but at the same time, like, it wasn't cheap. Hard drive is absolutely on fire. Not really surprised there. And of course, we have this 3D printed piece right here, which if you see, this is kind of where it's, I guess, guiding the intake through the heatsink and out the back, like trying to at least. And you know, this thing doesn't get terribly hot, so it's probably okay. And yeah, there's your fan. This is not the OG fan, but it's like basically the same size, I think, and looks very similar. Now, to be honest, it would have been nice to get an upgrade to the fan since we are putting this in a little tiny enclosed wooden case, but you know, it is what it is. Now let's take the fan out and get that out of the way. And of course, down here below that 3D printed part, we have our 2 heat sinks for our CPU and GPU. These are actually not too terribly hot right now, but we did see, I would assume, I'm not gonna take them off, but I would assume they probably replaced thermal paste, hopefully, because it seemed to be dissipating heat. We won't know unless I take it apart, which I just, like I said, I'm not gonna do it because this thing is so enclosed here. And what is on the bottom here? Is that just foam on the bottom of this case? It's almost like the foam you'd find on a yoga mat. Like, is that a good thing, or is that seems wrong, but maybe it's okay. Oh, and the power supply just lifts right out, which I guess is nice for my assembly purposes here. Don't want to touch that. We've got our IDE cable. I don't know why the IDE cable is stripped down like this. I guess he used a different one than the OG Xbox one used, but it looks the same. And now that I have this all apart and I have a better look at it, I should have noticed this earlier, but this right here is actually the PCB from the disk drive. And in case you didn't know, on the version 1.6 OG Xbox motherboard, you can actually still boot the console without your disk drive. You just have to have the PCB plugged in. That's not true for version 1.0 through 1.5. You have to have a hard mod for those. But this one is better because, and I guess that's why he probably used 1.6 or 1.6 motherboards, because he could just leave the disk drive PCB plugged in here. It's pretty large, but it's thin, of course. And of course, you have one end plugged into your motherboard, one end plugged to the disk drive PCB, and then the other one plugged into your hard drive. I also wanted to note here that the OEM clock capacitor is still in place, which is fine because this is a version 1.6 motherboard where the clock capacitors are not known to be leaky like the version 1.0 through 1.5. Where did this come from? I just found a random screw laying in here. Dude, what? Yeah, that's not good. You don't want to screw. It was just laying on top of a chip, so I'm surprised it didn't short something out. Maybe it was laying somewhere else when I opened it up. But this is such an interesting construction job here. Very creative, but at the same time, it's like, why? And also, like, why would? And why? There's a lot of questions here that I can't answer, and there's a lot of questions you probably have that you can't answer yourself. It's just a very interesting passion project, but I love seeing it. And the final question of the day is, what would I rate this console? And I think I gotta give it a 6 out of 10 because it's a cool idea, it does work, and it is modded, but it's very jank. It had all the broken pieces and stuff. Now the caveat here is I did message the seller and told him about all the stuff that came broken in the package, and he sent me a partial refund, so it actually ended up being about a $400 console, but still very expensive, still giving it a 6 out of 10. But let me know down below what you guys think. And if you like seeing custom Xboxes, check out this Iron Man Xbox video that I'll put on the screen.